Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making a candy cake. To begin with, we're going to start by making the chocolate shards that you can see on the cake. So here I have some white chocolate that I've melted. Now I'm going to spread this white chocolate out on some baking paper. Using my offset spatula, I'm just moving the chocolate around. Once I'm happy with the size of my chocolate, I'm then going to use the baking paper to slightly tap the chocolate so that it becomes an even flat finish. Here's the fun part where you get to add all your favorite candies to the top of the chocolate while it's still melted. So here I've used Smarties, jelly beans, sour straps, Allen's lollies, hundreds and thousands, and some other sprinkles on top. Once you're happy with how your slab of white chocolate is decorated, we're going to let that set. Once it's set, we're going to start cutting it into the different shapes. For today's cake, I've mainly chosen to use triangle shapes. So as you can see, to cut the shapes into the chocolate, I first score a line with my knife and then cut through completely. By scoring the chocolate and then carefully cutting your chocolate after that, avoids any of your shards splintering. As you can see, I'm cutting my white chocolate slab into multiple triangles in all different sizes. This is to add height and dimension to the cake. As you can see from this small amount of chocolate and the shards that we're making, I will roughly have about 9 to 10 pieces that I'll be able to use for the decoration. Once I'm happy with all the shards that I've cut, I'm then going to pop them aside and we're going to ice our cake. Today I'm using a 6-inch round cake. This one here is a caramel mud cake. Here I'm just using the ruler and my knife to put indents into the side of the cake where I want to level the cakes. I'm cutting this 6-inch round into 2 layers. Both layers are going to be 1 inch in height. Once I've leveled this cake and cut it into 2, I'm then going to do it with the second cake behind. Now you can see I have 4 layers of caramel mud cake. As I said before, each layer should be about 1 inch in height. Today's filling of choice for this caramel mud cake is chocolate ganache. As you can see, I've placed a spoonful of dark chocolate ganache on top of the first layer, which I'm now spreading out with my palette knife. Once I'm happy with the layer of ganache, I'm then going to add my second layer on top. I like to press down on the sponges firmly to ensure that they adhere to the filling. And then taking my offset spatula to clean up the ganache around the sides. We are then going to repeat this process 2 more times. A layer of ganache, 1 more mud cake, another layer of ganache, and the final mud cake. When placing the final layer of mud cake on top, I like to ensure that the final layer is actually the bottom of a mud cake. So by doing this, you just flip the bottom to make sure that it has a flat surface when you're masking. This also helps ensure that you will not be dragging extra crumbs through your crumb coat. Today's crumb coat is in a really nice blue buttercream. So as you can see, I'm just going around the cake with a small amount of buttercream to ensure that I lock in all those crumbs. Once I'm happy with my crumb coat, I'm then going to pop that in the fridge for 30 minutes. Once our buttercream is firm to the touch, we're then going to add our last layer of buttercream. When masking all my cakes, I like to use an offset spatula to spread the buttercream around the cake and on the top. And once I'm happy with the general smoothness, I tend to use a cake scraper to ensure a really nice smooth finish. Once I'm happy with the sides of the cake, I like to clean up the top. Today it doesn't matter too much as it's going to be covered with a drip. I'm also then going to clean up the cake board, taking off the excess buttercream. Here we're making a drip for this cake. In this bowl, I've combined white chocolate and thickened cream, melted it for 30 seconds in the microwave. I've done it in 30-second increments to ensure that it doesn't burn. Today's drip is going to be pink, so as you can see, I've just added a little bit of pink food colour. Today I'm using a piping bag to apply the drip to the cake, so I've just cut a small hole into my piping bag and I'm just going to apply pressure while allowing the ganache to flow down the cake. You can control the drip length by adding more pressure when you're squeezing the piping bag, or less if you want a shorter drip. We're going to continue doing this around the whole cake. Once you're happy with your drips, we're then going to move on to filling the top of the cake with the rest of the ganache. As you can see here, I'm just piping the rest of the ganache on top of the cake. I'm then going to take my offset spatula to push around the rest of the ganache so it touches the sides of the drip. Once I'm happy with how the top of my cake looks, we're going to let that set for about a minute. It still needs to be somewhat tacky when we're adhering the chocolate shards. Now's the fun part. You get to add all of your favourite candies and the white chocolate shards that we made earlier to the top of the cake. To begin with, I started with my white chocolate shards, arranging the triangles in different ways to peek through. Once I'm happy with the placement of my white chocolate shards, as you can see they're all still triangle shaped, I'm then going to move on to adding different candies on top of the drip and up the sides of the cake. Here I've rolled up 2 sour straps, one to add behind the chocolate shard and then one to add to the front of the cake down the bottom. Then you can add your favourite candies anywhere else on the cake. I started with jelly beans, followed by Smarties. Then I've just added some of the Allen's lollies. I've then added sprinkles and some more Smarties and Allen's lollies to the top of the drip. This is really up to your own creativity and how you want your cake to look and what lollies you want to use. Once you're happy with how your cake looks and the lollies that you've put on top, I would recommend refrigerating your cake for the next 30 minutes to ensure that your drip sets. And that's it guys, that's how I made this candy cake. If you liked this video and want to see more tutorials all things baking and cake decorating, please like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any videos. I upload every Wednesday. See you next time!